So both Sega and Atlas has been making headlines as of late within the gaming community. Um, Mainly Sega because Sega has been in the news for like various different things, whether it's concerning Sonic the Hedgehog, whether it's concerning their upcoming super game that's supposed to come out in 2016 or anything else. Sega's been making headways. And as far as um, Atlas is concerned, people really don't want to hear much about Atlas unless it involves Persona 6. And Persona 6 is a game that people have been waiting for quite some time now, and have made videos in the past talking about it, when it might come out, what to expect, and all that stuff. And we haven't gotten an official announcement about Persona 6 taking place. And we know they're working on it, but at the same time, Atlas is not giving us a trailer or any screenshots or anything like that. And there's still hardly any information about Persona 6 that has come out recently. But we do know that it's something that's going to happen, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years. And and the thing that has been making headlines in the news as of late is it's basically something involving investors, where Sega CEO Hakuri Atami basically talked about how their initial targets for the next main Persona game um, is supposed to be like somewhere around like 5 million copies, or at least that's the quota that they're on. And I'm not exactly sure if Persona 6 is expected to do that all at once, because you look at Persona 5, like the original version of the game. The original P5 game came out in 2016, and that game didn't reach like 3.2 million units in terms of sales until like the tail end of 2019. But at the same time, like, the Persona series is a lot bigger and more popular than it was about 7, 8 years ago. So I feel like the hype and the anticipation alone will cause like a lot of people to pre-order it. And I think at this point, the Persona series is big enough to a point where it can appeal to casuals, because like years ago, like before like Persona 5, um the Persona series in general felt very niche and only appealed to a small level of gamers. And I feel like for the most part, like, Persona has appealed to like hardcore RPG gamers for the longest period of time. But you look at the mainstream commercial success of the Persona 5 and the Persona 5 series in general, I do feel that Persona 6 does have what it takes to reach like 5 million copies within its first like 2 years or so. And and yeah, like it like turns out that Sega's investors are very optimistic and confident about Persona 6, and and it being a mainstream like commercial success. But the thing is, a lot of people are questioning what type of changes are going to be made in Persona 6 in comparison to that of Persona 5. Will it still have the same art direction? We're going to get a female protagonist instead of a male protagonist. Um, is there going to be enhanced gameplay features in Persona 6 that's going to be a step up from Persona 5? Those are all questions that we're waiting for Atlas to answer sometime next year or the year after that. And I believe the official like release for this game is expected to take place in 2025, the earliest. And and yeah, I do feel that Persona 6 is definitely going to be like one of the most anticipated JRPG games of the 2020s decade. And I do feel that 5 million, I think, is somewhat reasonable if like they're trying to hit a particular target within a couple of years. I don't expect the game, like, once it's released, to reach like 5 mil in 1 year, but if it does, I'll be pleasantly surprised. If they decide to release Persona 6 sometime around the holiday season, whether it be 2025 or 2026, I can see it doing 5 mil in a couple of months or so. But but yeah, there's still more details about Persona 6 that we need to know, you know? They Atlas has to give everybody something that A is going to surprise them. B, it's going to capture their attention in terms of like storyline, in terms of gameplay, in terms of character development. All that stuff has to be there, especially art direction. I really feel like the art direction for Persona 5 really got people into the game and it got people hooked onto it. And even though like the story for Persona 5 probably wasn't as good as 4 or 3 depending on who you ask, Persona 5 was still dark and for the most part it was enjoyable. It was a really fun RPG for a lot of people. And I do feel that, you know, like Persona 6, like the Persona 6, like once they come out with the P6 series, like all the spin-offs and all that stuff, it's something that is going to have the potential to surpass what the Persona 5 like series did, because I think like the Persona 5 series in general has topped like 8.3 million copies in terms of sales, and I think that took a couple of years because the original Persona 5 game came out in 2016, and by the end of last year, 2022, we had learned that Persona 5 sales reached over 8.3 million copies. So we're definitely going to get a new P6 game. We're going to get a new P6 series, like with the spin-offs and all that stuff. I hope we get like a fighting game for Persona 6 because with Persona 5, I don't think we ever got a Persona 5 arena, similar to how we got like a Persona 4 arena game back in the early teens. But you know, um, Atlas is just going to do what they want, and they're going to make games they think is going to be financially like it's going to profit them financially. It's going to be commercially successful, and as far as Persona 6 in general is concerned, a lot of people, including myself, are waiting to learn more about the game, what to expect, and when the official release date is going to be in the next couple of years or so.